guys, today I'm going to be testing out this, which is the Maybelline Fit Me Anti-Shine Foundation Stick. Now, basically the idea of it is it's cream to powder. It does have double layer in there, so I don't know which part of it's cream and which part of it's powder. It's really difficult to tell from swatching it, but I'm kind of guessing the centre part. I'm not sure. But you can tell when you do swatch it on your hand and kind of feel it between your fingers, it is cream to powder kind of product. So I am wearing a moisturiser. I'm hoping that that will kind of stop it from clinging to any dry areas that I might have. My skin is quite combination, but it's normally leaning towards oily, but it can be a little bit dry in patches, so don't hold that against it if it does kind of cling to dry areas. I think this is probably designed more for really oily skin. So we're just going to get on with the application. I'm going to do one half of my face and see how I feel about it. I've got a mirror here, so if that gets in the shot, that's what it is. And I'm just going to kind of apply it like you would a stick foundation. And then I'm going to rub it in with my fingers. As I'm applying it from the actual tube, it feels quite thick, but I have a feeling it's going to blend out nicely. It's really quite silky. But it is, I feel like it's almost working against the moisturiser that I have on. It's kind of creating those rolly bits. Obviously it's going to be different if you use a brush, but I do like to, when I'm first using something for the first time, I like to use my hands just to feel it on my skin, and I do feel like it's creating those little bits working against what's already on my skin. Okay, I'd say the coverage is light. I'm not sure how buildable it would be because it doesn't seem to like to blend with other products, so whether it will blend with itself I don't know, but when I apply the rest of my face I will test that and tell you. And it feels very, very dry. I've got little flakes of it in my hair here. It is sinking into my pores and around little areas like around my nose and stuff like that, but it generally has mattified. Obviously I've not used a powder yet, and it feels very, very dry on my skin. So if you do have dry skin, so far I'm thinking this is definitely not going to be for you, but like I say, I'll do the rest of my face and come back and let you know how I feel about the overall application. So that's my entire face done, and I like the coverage that it's given. I like the finish. It's a little bit dry, like I say, but it is going to hopefully keep me matte. I'm not sure whether I'm going to apply a powder over the top of this. I think no. I really want to see how that does. And actually the colour's not too bad. I think perhaps a shade lighter would have been a shade too light. So I'm quite happy with it. I did apply the second half with a brush in the interest of fairness just to see what it was like, and I feel like it did apply a little bit better, more evenly. Didn't kind of sink into my pores because obviously I wasn't pushing it into my pores with my fingers, it was kind of just brushing over them. So I feel like this does apply better with a brush than I would have expected it to. And I would recommend that that's how you apply it. But yeah, I like the way that it looks on my skin. It is kind of settling into imperfections and any kind of areas of dryness, even kind of picking up on like hairs that I never knew I had on my face. Kind of, everyone has that kind of fine layer of hair on their face, and I feel like this is making it stand out as if you've put a lot of powder on your face. So we will see, but I'm going to apply the rest of my makeup and then I'm going to, as usual, see how this lasts throughout the day. Okay, so I have applied the rest of my makeup, and I must say I feel like it didn't apply as nicely as it could have done on another foundation. It just didn't feel quite right, and some of it looks a bit weird. I did have to put some powder on in the end because my face was super shiny. By the time I'd put on all my makeup, I was really shiny on my chin. Areas that I don't feel like I normally get really shiny, I really did need to powder. So that kind of, I don't know, I was expecting it to be very mattifying, I suppose, and it wasn't. It's not anti-shine for me so far, so we'll see how well it lasts. I haven't put a particularly brilliant oil absorbing powder. I've just used the Revlon Nearly Naked one, which I find I have to apply throughout the day, so I haven't kind of given it any extra oomph in that department. I really want to see how well it does on its own. The only concealer that I've put on is a little bit of MUA concealer underneath my eyes. I haven't done anything in the way of any of the redness or anything because I want it to kind of really test it to see if I can see any redness by, say, midday, etc. So yeah, we shall see. It's about 9:30 now, which is later than I normally start a test like this, but I will run it past kind of lunchtime and tea time and see how well this foundation lasts. And yeah, I'll be back for my first update in a few hours. Hi guys, it's 2 o'clock and I'm checking in. So far so good with the foundation. I'm actually feeling a lot better about it now than I was when I first applied it this morning. I was a little bit on the fence My first impressions weren't great, but I haven't had to powder my face. I'm maybe looking a little bit glowy now, but I don't feel like I have to powder at this point, maybe by the end of the day. But I won't, obviously, for the interest of actual testing it out. The coverage also still seems to be there. It's not settling into any other imperfections. However, I do feel like this is definitely something that's more for oily skin rather than dry skin. If you have got dry skin, I wouldn't go for this. This is the third time I've tried to film this because Milo is making noise in the background. And now he's playing the drums. Of course he is. I came into the kitchen to film this away from him and he's followed me in to make noise. It's just, if you didn't laugh. Yeah, anyway, so far so good, and I'll come back at the end of the day with my final thoughts. So it is 7:15 and my bath is run, so I'm going to have to take my makeup off, and I thought I would film, well, I would have to film the kind of concluding section to this video. Overall, I'm actually really impressed. Like I said in the second part, I really didn't think that I was going to be. I didn't think I was going to like it at all. The first application of it really put me off, and I thought it's too powdery, but it's really not. Again, still have not powdered my face. I mean, it's not been particularly warm today. It is cold, and where I'm sitting right now, it is freezing because we're in the conservatory. But it's the only light that I've got at 7:15 at night in September. So yeah, really impressed. It's still matte. The coverage is almost all there. It's not really worn away, and I am a bit of a face toucher, so if something's going to wear away, it's definitely going to wear away on me. And it's not really settled into anything else. It's not kind of transformed into anything else. Hasn't got drier over time or anything. If anything, it's got better. And I have found that sometimes with mattifying powders, blotting powders and such, if they feel a little bit chalky to begin with, give it an hour or two, and once my natural oils in my face are actually produced, it kind of soaks up those oils and then it becomes a completely different finish. And I think that's kind of what happened here. It started off a little bit powdery for me and a little bit dry, and then obviously it absorbs what it's supposed to absorb, the anti-shine deal, and then it becomes kind of nicer. It's really odd. I did want to mention as well, in the interim, I did kind of do a little bit of research, and apparently the outer layer of this is a gel foundation, and the powder core is in the middle, hence it being called a core. The powder part is in the core, basically. So that's where the anti-shine part comes in. It reminds me a lot of the Maybelline Dream Mousse, was it called? I used to use that all the time, and I've kind of come to realise that once upon a time I did have very oily skin, and I used to choose these things were matte foundations and stuff, and obviously that's not necessarily what's for my skin now, because obviously I'm older now, my skin is a little bit drier, so whereas I loved that back in the day, I don't love that now, and maybe that's why initially I wasn't all about this, whereas this is very different. It felt a little bit like that to begin with, and that's why I kind of thought, and I was kind of reserving my judgment, and this has really redeemed itself throughout the day. So, a bit of a rambly video, as all of my first impressions are, but I will also have a blog post up on this that you can check out below. This will be a couple of weeks in by the time you actually see this video, so I'll have a few more tests of this before I do my blog review, and you'll be able to read that in the info bar below. So yeah, much chatter and ramble from me today, but hopefully you got kind of the gist, and it is actually a decent product, so I was very impressed in the end. And if you've tried it, give me a comment below and let me know how you thought about it, or how you felt about it. It's way too late for me to be videoing right now. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!